Welcome back to K&L Farms, and this video is going to be a little bit different than normally is presented on my channel, and so we're going to go down the rabbit hole a little bit and my thought process between the building that I'm building, which has been themed a bunch on my channel, and how I came to the conclusion that I needed a building, and then I'm trying to figure out a heat source, off-grid heat source for that building, which if you have an opinion on which one, and once I explain my thought process, leave it in the comments. I'll be sure to read it and respond to you. But so building the building, we've got a main structure, our main house, and the main house is good, and I put a lot of energy and thought into the preparations, or being prepper, which I think prepper and homesteading are right hand, left hand. Almost sometimes it's almost the same thought process. You know, it's a total package, but you're prepping on your homestead or you're doing farming on your homestead. I think it's the same subject matter. But in any case, main house, put enough energy into it, is good for days or weeks, which we've spent weeks. We've had weeks not off grid, but we've had weeks where we stayed at home and didn't do anything. But the main house is addicted to being on grid. So something goes bad, something goes wrong. Well, I'm not promoting it. It's going to. I don't know that it's going to, but I've spent a lot of energy in the what if. Preparation for what if. First, what if, and second is okay. I don't need a third party to come save me. I put energy into saving myself. The third party can just go do something else. But that being the case, so now we move into months. Off grid, something happens, I'm a month. If I'm a month, my main house won't sustain the lifestyle I enjoy. The off-grid cabin, which I've used that term very lightly because I'm going to hook on the grid. It'll have indoor plumbing, excluding a restroom. It'll have power, be hooked up to the power. But say that goes away. To heat a 20 by 20 building with the off-grid options that I have behind me. I own both of them, but I'll show you here in just a minute why I concluded one, not the other. But so that is a lot better, a lot easier to heat that. I'll have a heat source in it. I'll have some sort of power, stationary power, not on-grid power in that building. But that was the deciding factor in one of them in building, that homestead cabin I've been living in. So let's go with power sources. I have two. I have a standard wood stove. The only alteration in this wood stove is this is an 8-inch pipe instead of a 6-inch pipe. The ones I'm more common with on a wood stove is a 6-inch pipe. That's another debate factor, and if you'd like, I can put a video out just for the 8 or the 6, but this one has an 8. I own this product. This is a standalone ventless propane heater. Okay, so these were my two options that I had, that I considered for it. The standalone gas ventless heater is, of course, it's the easy portion. Set it up, put a regulator on it, take a propane bottle, hook the propane bottle up down here below, push a button, it's on. The other thing is, it's on, and if you've ever been in homes that have wood stoves and you come home, it's cold, there's a considerable length of time between the time you get the stove going and you get the heat going, that it heats up the house. This is almost a 1-to-1. This will produce heat in just minutes. And remember, I said this is the easy button, this is the hard button. And I'll go into more depth on that in just a minute. The hard button in that is, okay, you've got to cut the firewood. Installing this is, for me anyway, would probably be a day or 2-day venture installing this, and is much more expensive. This pipe, in my experience, the stove, it costs you as much as the piping. Now, I bought this used, but I'm saying if you went and bought new, so example, if this stove is $3,000, this pipe into the insulation, into the chimney, would be approximately $3,000 also. So this is much more difficult, and it's dirtier in that if you've ever done wood, there's dirt on the floor. Every time you bring a pile of wood in, it's dirty. This one leaves a signal or a footprint outside. So stove's going, smoke's coming out the top. Other people in the area can locate where that smoke's coming from. That leaves a footprint outside. This product does not leave a footprint outside. But remember that my off-grid cabin is for if I'm a month. If I'm a month, and I'll go to a different subject in just a minute, but if I'm a month, this tank right here, I'm addicted to a third party filling that tank up. And I've made it so that I'm not, let me see if I can phrase this correctly. I'm not self-sustained. Sooner or later, even though I have a lot of these tanks, if I'm in months, which that building is prepared for, sooner or later that tank goes dry. Now I've seen a lot of other people or a lot of things on how to save gasoline, how to save fuel, how to save enough gasoline to run your generator so your generator's running. In my way of thought, it's exactly the same as that. Sooner or later, if you're in months, that gasoline is gonna run out. And when that gasoline runs out, you've got to leave your homestead or find somebody that's got gasoline. So you're addicted, you're just prolonging the outcome with a gas or a generator. You need to come to the conclusion that power's out, it's been a month, now you got to figure out how to sustain your life the way you want to live it on your property. The other thing, subject is that a lot of people or a lot of channels I see, they call it, they have a bug out bag. They're going to get in their vehicle and they're going to drive out of the major cities and they're going to come to a bug out location. Where I live is my bug out. I'm old enough that I won't be able to commute, I won't be able to interact with the public if things go bad. And I live in a bug out location, or if this fails, there's another location I live near. It's 9 miles away. Now 9 miles for me and my wife would be a truck. But if this is compromised, that'll be compromised too. But where I live is where I intend on and have made all my preparations for a bad situation. So, the reason I've concluded that I'm going to go with this is because I live on a large woodlot. You've seen it on the channel. And this, even though a chainsaw going to run out of gas sooner or later, I can use an axe, I can use a crosscut saw, and I can produce heat for a long period of time with this installed in the off-grid cabin. This is just prolonging the inevitable, and that tank is going to run out sooner or later. And I'd rather have these tanks in that off-grid, for cooking, not heat source. I'm going to use this for a heat source, this wood stove, standard wood stove, no big deal. Big one for a 20 by 20 building, I know, but it was reasonable priced. This one I'm not going to use, even though it doesn't have an external footprint, is because I'm working on long term. I'm on the long term. Hopefully I never have to deal with that, but if I do, remember, and also again, it's the what if factor. What if I do? Right now, the main house in months would not be able, I wouldn't be able to sustain my way of life in the main house. So it's a fallback position. So you could actually say that my bug out location is approximately 200 feet from my main house. And that's what I wanted to go over, just which heat source I'm going to put in my off-grid and why I chose the wood stove over the propane heater.